Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello everybody and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, and you are back for our continued journey through 52 years in film. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to have you. And for the first time on this 52-year journey through film, we are joined by Tavarus Pennington. What's up, homie?
Hey, doing all right. My mic works.
Mic works. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we got that shit figured out. And hopefully it won't be a problem again for any of us. I had some connection issues. But it's 1985. Not literally, but what we're talking about today, 1985. Obviously, first day of January, we started with a movie from 1970, and every Friday since then, gone a movie from every year since 1971, 2, 3, all the way through the 70s, getting us half through the 80s, now here to 1985, in which we will be discussing The Breakfast Club. And I don't think there's a movie that more perfectly resembles the 80s film sort of feel to it. You know, the thing John Bellion was singing about. Just like those 80s films. We'll hook up in the back seat and let my best friend drive.
Damn, is that a John Bellion reference? That takes me back.
Bro, I know.
Wow. That was only like 4 years, maybe 4 years ago. Maybe.
But I absolutely love this movie. I haven't really considered my like top 10 favorite movies of all time in a while, but for several years, this was top one. Mm-hmm. This was my favorite movie of all time.
We may have a podcast episode talking about that.
Yeah, it's been in every single one that we've ever done a top 10 favorite movies of all time. The Breakfast Club has come up. I feel it's always fitting. Somewhere in there. And I'm still pretty confident about that after this most recent watch. Let me lay the groundwork for the people, and then we can really dive into it. We got The Breakfast Club, released on February 15th, 1985, written and directed by John Hughes. Oh, fuck. I just love his movie. I love this movie. Joe, you said first watch, right?
This was my first watch. Crazy that it took me this long to watch this movie. Just hearing about how, just good and great it is. But I'm glad that I watched it now. This was just a great movie. Like, I didn't know what to expect at all. I had no idea that this is just them sitting in detention, all day. Like, I had no idea. But it was just like a nice change of pace from the other movies that we've watched. We just came off Terminator, so like it's a big switch up, going from Arnold Schwarzenegger and killer robots to just detention class. But I loved it. Yeah, this movie was awesome. Definitely up there in my all-time favorites already, for sure. So
I absolutely love it. And Tavarus, how you feeling about The Breakfast Club, baby?
Oh, I mean, it's a classic. Like, there's no other. It knocked me off my feet the first time I saw it, which surprised you. Like, this may surprise you, but it was actually in ninth grade health class. Mr. Reynolds, I think his name was.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yeah, he showed it, and I still to this day have no idea why I was being shown that movie in health class, but stuck with me. I've been shown some of the greatest. I was shown Interstellar in a physics class.
So was I. But no, yeah, I'm with you. I watched this movie for the first time in middle school, and I didn't quite get it yet, but I was like,
I want to be like all of them somehow. You know what I'm saying? Like, because The Breakfast Club is, it literally is every archetype you could probably have in a high school class, like in general, especially for the 80s. The criminal, the athlete, the princess, the basket case, and the fucking dork. But I absolutely loved it. And then when I got into high school, it very quickly rose to my favorite movie of all time, just because it became all the more relatable and all the more like just real. Like, it's like, that's a lot of kids grow up and they realize, fuck, am I becoming my fucking parents?
Yeah.
And you know what? For a lot of people, that fucking sucks. That's a rough one to realize for a lot of people. And I think this movie captures just this, like, kind of what high school can be like, in terms of like when you're forced to sit down and talk to people for a little bit. Like, you don't have any other option here. Sit down and speak to each other, and eventually you'll find relatable ground, probably.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of a thing that I think I've been noticing recently in my own life as well, is sort of this, and it poses this question near the end of the movie. What are we going to be friends after this? Like, are we friends now? And I didn't really ever catch that in my previous watching of it, but that was kind of one of the more important questions of the entire movie, which is, after you have these experiences, what does that mean? And I don't think the answer is as simple as they become friends afterwards. Like, definitely not.
No, yeah, it's something a lot. It's speaking more to who they are as people, and like in a morality sense. Like, it's like, when Claire's like, no, probably not, and Brian's like, you're so conceited, Claire. You're so conceited. I absolutely love that scene, because like, girls like, guys like that, people like that who are just like, no, because it wouldn't look good. And it's like, that's just more. And I think it's funny when you come to the end of this movie and you got the coming of age sort of, that's what this is about. But now that I'm out of high school, and I haven't watched this movie in a while, like, this was my first viewing in a little bit. I kind of view it in a different light, where it's not really like, there's one reason to me Claire goes to John Bender at the end of the movie. She doesn't want to be like her mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason. That it's not a great romantic attachment. He's a complete and utter fucking asshole to her the whole time, and that's exactly why she chooses him, because she's exactly the guy her parents would hate to see her with. You know, and
whenever oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like,
go.
this like Claire's storyline of her saying like, yeah, no, we probably won't be friends. You know, it's just, let's be realistic here. You know, like, that one thing is probably the thing I hated most about high school. Is like, everyone just had to have their own clique, and you couldn't hang out with anyone outside your clique, or it was just like sacrilegious or something. You know, like, why? Like, it would ruin your image or something. Like, what were we worried about, you know, so bad in high school that you couldn't hang out with a nerd, or, you know, if you were a jock, that you couldn't hang out with, you know, someone like, you know, like, I think that's like part of my high school experience that I'm like proud of, is that I really made friends with anyone.
Oh yeah, I tried my best too, you know, and interestingly enough, I know we didn't end up getting to get together the other day, but was the last time we were all in the same room senior year English class with Miss Montgomery?
You know, quite possibly.
That's probably it. Yeah.
God damn.
You
That's
know,
wild. Just movie about high school, just fitting, coming full circle like that. But I absolutely, this movie is really relatable, because like, it also is saying something about, like, to a degree, I've obviously kept in much greater touch with you two than I have with a lot of people from high school.
Fair.
But you know, the friends you do make in high school, like, they show, like, are we still going to be friends after this? That truly is a question for the entirety of high school, because there are people who you were friends with in high school who you just haven't talked to since. Not for real. You know what I'm saying? And like, that kind of sucks, but it's life. That shit
Mhm.
happens. If you weren't going to be friends, you weren't going to be friends. And that's just how it goes. And it's like, it's sad, but hey, it happens.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of part of why I really love the Breakfast Club, is because it's such a, these are complex issues when you think about relationships, particularly relationships at such a seemingly immature level as high school. It still gets complex, and the movie tackles it in such a simple way, and it kind of offers a very simple setting to focus in on the beauty of those. For some reason, spending 8 hours in detention on a Saturday, which seems like it has to be illegal.
Oh no, that has to be illegal. Like, that cannot be a thing. And like, it might have been a thing in the 80s, but it's sure as shit not a thing anymore.
That would be a legit reason to not want detention, though. Like, if detention's just like an hour, or whatever,
yeah.
it's like, oh, screw it. This is worth it. Whatever I'm doing right now, that's getting me detention. But like, if it was truly 8 hours where you couldn't sleep, you had to do whatever the teacher, whoever person told you to do, like, yeah, that would actually be like,
Mr.
you know what?
Vernon.
Yeah, Dick. Love
Dick Vernon.
just classic Rich name, like any guy named Rich, he's going to be called Dick eventually, and just
obviously
classic placement right there. I love
Dick
that.
Vernon. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, and he's actually one of the, obviously, as the antagonist of the movie, which is which is funny to say in this context, but he's the fucking villain. You fucking hate this guy, because they're saying they're not only saying something about these kids who are in high school and are looking to grow up, but they're also saying something about Mr. Vernon.
Exactly.
Who is stuck in high school. He's still playing these games of who's cooler and who's not. He's making fun of teachers looking through their files. He's bullying these kids, and it's like, grow the fuck up, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And they come to that conclusion too when they're like, you want us to tell you who we are? Fuck yourself, man.
You know who the realest character in this entire movie is?
Who? The janitor.
The janitor. Yes.
The janitor.
Carl Reed, man. That dude is a real one. He's to the kids and to Dick.
Your dad worked here?
Yeah, like just slam dunk on everybody. Like, yeah. Like, oh man, I don't know. I just love the janitor. He just went off. Like,
he went in.
He was the only one who I feel like had an accurate read of what was going on there. It was the only one who, I don't know,
he's the eyes and ears of that institution. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got that shit in the bag.
It's a fact.
and he's making deals, making $50 here, just like dude's a G. I don't know. I love that dude. My favorite character of the movie by far is the janitor.
And that's Carl, fucking Carl. I love that guy, man. Because he's the dude who did grow up, and like, is he still stuck in a high school? Yeah, but hey, he's doing him. He's happy. Fuck this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he doesn't need everyone to think of him in a certain way, like everyone else seems to.
Yeah, and that is what everyone else's theme in this movie is wanting to be seen a certain way, trying to live up to a certain expectation. And like, Allison kind of seems to not give a shit about a single thing at all. She didn't even get in trouble. She just didn't have anything to do on a Saturday. So she came to detention, which is just fucking hilarious. But yeah, he was buttoned up. He was like, "Nah, I don't need the approval of you shits." You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, thinking back on high school and even like middle school, like, the janitors really were like the nicest like people. Like, I don't know if we just got lucky with our janitors, but like, the janitors I had were like really nice people. They would talk to you like they would actually legitimately know like the drama and stuff that went around the school. Like, they truly were the eyes and ears like of the school. Like,
they're everywhere, man.
I bet like janitors like probably told like administration so much stuff. Like I bet they like legitimately were basically spies. Like that just reported back to principals. Like, oh yeah, Jimmy just said that he's gonna, go to Sarah's house. Like straight up, like they hear everything. But
they hear all. They are the Watcher. No, but let's get to the core five here. Brian, Allison, Andy, Claire, and John. Whenever they each show up, like from the get-go, they've got their obvious problem is introduced. John Bender clearly not having any regard for anyone's safety and not giving a fuck, flipping off the guy who nearly hit him with his car. Claire's dad pulling up in the caddy and dropping her off at school, and Andy's dad giving him shit about how if he wants to keep his scholarship, he's got to get his shit together. And I love that you from the get go exactly who these characters are and what they're dealing with pretty much. Maybe not to the fullest extent, but
I feel like the writing there kind of starts on a kind of, which is funny for this movie came out in the 80s, right?
85.
85. So it's kind of a serious indict of the people who our parents' parents were and our parents are, in a way.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty I don't know, like that's not a common way to start a script as small as this, which is basically fuck all of you boomers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's it. It is funny because there is this thing just generationally. No generation likes the generation that came before them, and they're not going to like the generation that comes after them because they're just not. It just doesn't work. They don't, like you grow, like things change, and people like times change, and the people evolve with it. And it's like, no matter what, you can try your best to evolve, and you can get along as well as you can, but there will always be things where you're like, fucking A, these young people or these old people. Like,
and then you don't realize how you are becoming them.
Exactly.
I don't know, the janitor had like a line where he said that, right? He was like, nah, the kids didn't change. It's just you're not willing to or something like that.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, it's like, like we'll always hate the younger generation just because we'll always think we had it harder, always, because we always want to win, we're always looking for a win, and that's the easiest win we could do is just like, yeah, you're a little baby whenever I was an adult, so ha ha ha, I'm better than you.
Baby.
Like,
baby.
But
little baby bitch.
I love how like at the very beginning, these characters couldn't be any more different from each other. They're just every stereotype of high school, every different stereotype was hit. And then, like, just showing how they're just all the same, like, throughout the whole movie. Like, they're all the same, like, deep down. And, like, whenever, like, the first kind of instinct of that is, like, whenever John's going out just to smoke, he's, like, going out to smoke, and then slowly, one by one, they each get up.
Yeah,
they join each other. And it's like, yeah, like, you know what? Like, we're all in this together. Like, let's just hang out, basically. And it was... I don't know this.
You see this? You gonna let this happen? Unbelievable. No, I absolutely love that. Like, this movie is about high schoolers and how they couldn't have been more different, and eventually they come together. And what people seem to fucking forget every time, what brought them together? Weed. And don't let anyone tell you different.
Can we just talk about Andrew's hotbox situation and his rampage afterwards?
But isn't that what athletes do?
That's what's crazy. Is like, I know he had a strong sativa strand, man. That man said, broke the fucking glass.
Dude was going insane.
The way he was like hitting flags and like skipping around and punching the fucking air and just like ripped off his clothes. That man was fucking feeling it.
He hotboxed that whole room, bro. He was toked. Like that. I don't know. That was just insane. That was just like and it wasn't really talked about. It just happened and then it was over. Like,
well, no, and that's what's hilarious too. Is like they're like knowing that these kids probably don't smoke much weed. The amount of weed they had to have smoked to have hotboxed that room and the rest of what they did. The rest of the movie, they're baked. Like, that's what you could, because they do that towards the middle of the day, you know?
Yeah.
3 hours, that's nothing. They're fucking toked. You know what I'm saying? They're feeling it the rest of the fucking movie. And I just love having that in my mind. Like, they're all high as fuck. Like, when they're sitting there in the circle, like, baring their heart and souls to each other, that's only happening because they're high. They wouldn't be doing that if they were sober, which is just hilarious to me.
This is I never really thought about that. I always just thought of the weed smoking as, because like, you know, that's one, I feel like that's one of a couple things in the movie that just came out of nowhere. Like,
Right,
you're watching it and you're like, oh, so they just hotbox the library during detention.
And I can't tell
there's
you a
just no
single thing I want to
consequences
do more
for
in
it.
my life than hotbox a library that I'm alone in at some point.
That's
library was sick too. Like,
It was
a
awesome.
cool library. Like, that'd be a cool place to spend detention in if you had to.
fair.
Well, interestingly enough, this high school in this area is the area where John Hughes grew up, and it is also where all of his movies are set.
All of
Like
his
Home
movies
Alone
are
takes
set.
place in the neighborhood outside of this high school.
Is this in Chicago or near?
Yeah, in Chicago.
Okay.
That's cool.
I didn't realize John Hughes did Home Alone.
Yep, Home Alone, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 16 Candles.
Oh, damn.
He's got a catalog.
Damn. And they're all here. That's kind of cool. Like,
No, yeah, he was always paying homage to his home, which is really cool. I always love that. But if you had to pick like one favorite character from this movie, aside from the janitor, of the five we have here, who's your favorite of these five kids?
I feel like John Bender really came around. Like, he was annoying at first, but then he like kind of came around. And I don't
becomes
like
a little
him.
bit more sympathetic when he's like, "Smoke up, Johnny." You know what I'm saying? Like, that he becomes a lot more sympathetic as you learn more about him throughout the movie, as they all do. You know, like they all have the thing about them where you're like, God, this person fucking sucks.
But I guess,
And
This is true, but so Claire was watching this for the first time. Not Claire in the movie, my girlfriend Claire, and
Yeah.
she you know, she was like, "Why do you like Bender? He's like an asshole." Pretty much throughout, and every time he would say something like that made him seem like an asshole, I would like feel that like shared shame, and I was like, you know, he, like, I understand why he's sympathetic, but I can also understand how he's kind of just an asshole throughout the movie.
oh no, don't get me wrong. This John Bender is actually like one of the most overhyped characters of all time in terms of like there were very few redeeming things about him, and especially like post after recent years with like the Me Too movement and stuff. The scene where he sexually assaults Claire does not age well.
I did forget about that. That's true.
Yeah, like
Fair.
yeah, it's like oof, but it is interesting because like it's also another little time capsule that was like
It is.
that was a part of this movie, and it was something that happened and was immediately dismissed. Like it was just a thing that happened. Like Andrew, I think someone laughs that it happened, and I mean Andy gets up in his face and was like, "Hey, man, me hitting you."
That's my woman.
Yeah, he knew how to talk, man. He thought he felt big there. You know,
He did kind of take him down though.
Oh wait, what was that?
He did kind of take him down though. You know.
Oh, he
You know,
did.
he wasn't just talking the talk. He actually, you know, he could do what he was talking about.
Wrestlers can do that shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, like I feel pretty good about my chances fighting most people, but like wrestler strength is different. Like, and the shit they know what to do, like how to like get you in certain positions and then just like fucking throw your body. It's like, okay, well,
Okay.
I'm not winning this fight. But Andy, did he look familiar to you, Joe?
I was going to say that. Like, it's one of those where it's like it's not immediate where I'm like thinking the whole movie, where's this guy from? But it was one of those where I'm like, this dude could have been somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you something you might have seen him in first, and then I'll make the connection that's probably true. He's in Mighty Ducks. He's the coach in Mighty Ducks. And then Emilio Estevez, the guy who plays Andrew, is the son of Martin Sheen, who was the main character in Apocalypse Now.
Oh!
And he looked exactly like him.
Wow. Yeah. I see that now.
That was our 1979 movie, just a few weeks back.
I got
But
man, I haven't seen the Mighty Ducks in forever. I totally like.
No, yeah, I haven't watched that shit in a long time.
I was like a kid.
Yeah, I was little the last time I watched Mighty Ducks. They got like a whole series on Disney Plus now and everything. Like,
they have a series?
Yeah, they got the whole shits. They got the whole franchise treatment and stuff. Do I see a Breakfast Club poster on the wall behind you, Tavarus?
That is a fact, yeah. I'm
Holy
surprised you
shit,
could see
look at
it.
that.
My camera's so shitty, I didn't think you'd be able to see it. But...
No, yeah, I can make that poster out anywhere, man. That shit, that's iconic. That's iconic as fuck. Claire laying across the front and John in the back, like,
yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite ones. It's a little wrinkled up. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that.
Probably pretty old.
Yeah.
Been around a minute. But yeah, one of the characters in this movie who obviously doesn't get enough love for my money is Brian. I think Brian's a good character. You know, he's got his own problems that they all dismiss, but like, hey, that's as real as any of the other shit. Because self-induced pressure, and not just self-induced. You know, there's a reason he's feeling it. He's feeling it from his parents, and therefore he's projecting it onto himself too. That's about as bad as any pressure you can get, man. That shit eating away at you from the inside. That's rough.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that's what he's going through. He's having mental health issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he was like, I've never even gotten a B in my life, you know, like that. An F it's unacceptable. Like that's like, oh man, he has some weird things about him, you know, like
oh, absolutely,
just some weird stuff. But like I felt for him, like it was just real sad, like that does suck. I feel him. You know, my brother was the athlete. You know, parents didn't really care what his grades looked like, just because, you know, he wasn't the smartest. But if I came home with an A-, it was like, are you okay? What's wrong? You know, you're slipping, and it's like, okay, no, I'm just, it's an A-, you know.
I got an A.
So I'm sorry that I'm sorry that I have a 4.0. My bad.
I'll never forget the first time I met Johnny George, and he just felt up my ear, that king.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. He has a thing with ears, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
He's just not the sharpest tool in the shed.
That's odd.
Love that kid. But not Brian was an interesting cat, you know, and he's probably my favorite part of the weed smoking scene. Whenever he's like, he blows the smoke out and then he tries to, he's like trying to get it back into his mouth like that. I think that shit's funny as hell.
Bro looked experienced. Looked like he's been doing that before. Like a little bit. I got that idea that like John, he's definitely been doing it. You know, he had it, so he's been
he's clearly been token.
Andrew, maybe, I don't know. It's
that didn't seem like a first high.
I mean,
yeah,
insane if it's first high is hotboxing an entire room. But Brian, I don't know. It looked like he was pretty well versed. Like I got the idea that they were like, this dude smokes in his free time.
Have you ever smoked with a Claire?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That one's always fun to be around. You're like, you're not even taking that,
defeating the whole. It's okay, you know. Just
yeah, you know, like you're having your fun.
Just do you, I guess. Yeah.
But it's everyone's different. You just gotta, because I've come to think, weed isn't for some people. They found an amazing, it's amazing that they found 5 people who weed was for, but I could totally see the 6th having a totally complete like like breakdown because they're hotboxing a public school
Oh
library.
yeah, like that's the thing. Like this situation is one I would absolutely never be in. Like I'd have a panic attack. I would not be comfortable.
You're just like, no wonder y'all are in detention. I was wondering how you all got here. Now
yeah, exactly. No wonder y'all want to smoke illegal recreational drugs in the school. That's just not something I can do here.
In the 80s, mind you.
Yeah, like I guess they're all white kids.
Yeah. So.
How did Dick
white
just not smell like them?
Mr. Vernon.
Like, how did he just not are all of you high? Like,
I take it that Mr. Vernon's quite the fucking idiot.
True.
Yeah.
And I think they're just kind of banking on that.
Just wants to beat up a kid too. That was.
Oh yeah, that fucking that whole fucking sequence where he's like, "Hit me, do it."
Oh,
you're
like a Green Goblin moment, man. Like a Joker moment. Now, just dude was going insane. Like,
bro, you're clearly dealing with some other shit. Do you like get a therapist or something, bro? Like, you need to talk through this. Where you feel so personally against this child that you're, and I mean, like, sorry.
If there is a kid that could get beat up, I see it being John Bender. But still, it's a kid, and like.
Oh, absolutely. But here's my other thing. That's absolutely a 28-year-old man playing John Bender. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Like, that is not a child. I'll look into it. Yeah, he was 26.
He was 26.
Damn.
Yeah, he was 26. Molly Ringwald was 19.
Wow, that makes that a little weirder.
It makes it a lot weirder, actually. Well, here, hold on. Was she?
Ooh.
1968. 1985.
Huh.
1968. Yeah, I don't know. She was 18 or 17. She was like right there, but it's definitely weird.
Eesh.
Eek. Hey, another 80s moment.
Another 80s moment. Yeah, crazier things have happened. Yes.
No, there have been there's a movie out in theaters on Christmas. Well, last Christmas, there's a movie out in theaters now, or not in theaters now. It's been out for months.
Yes.
Since what is it? April
15th. Hey,
this episode's pretty close to 420, and it's basically a stoner comedy.
Yeah.
But Licorice Pizza features something of a weird romantic attachment between a 25-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's weird, and I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen a lot of controversy around it, and it's like, eek. We'll see. Paul Thomas Anderson, he's a pretty good filmmaker, but that's a weird story element.
Slightly weird one.
Yeah. But nevertheless, I think this movie, it's basically the perfect coming of age movie. Like what we thought of American Graffiti back in 1972. Like we were like, this is a great coming of age movie. Well, I think this just like if we could give it a 5.1 out of 5 in terms of genre fulfillment, like I think it would be. Just the way that they come together. It's touching. It's like
it's
all these kids.
Feel good movie, man. It just makes you feel good. Like,
yeah, I mean, you got to get to the end. There are times during it where you're like, holy shit, this is actually much sadder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
Brian brought a flare gun.
Oh, so it was a flare gun. Okay,
Whenever they started laughing,
yeah.
it
I was
got
like,
me laughing. Yeah, it was like, oh, come on, man. Now you're
nah,
like,
bro,
oh.
y'all can't make fun of this dude for the flare gun. Y'all
What the
can't do that.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty high when I was watching it, and so when he was like, I brought a gun, I don't know, I must have like I missed some context or something. I was like,
You were like, oh,
I don't remember. I was like, that did not age well.
no, yeah, it was a flare gun, and I think it was since he was dealing with a lot of mental health stuff, I think it was more on the he was potentially suicidal at one point.
Yeah.
Thing, but the way he was thinking about it was with a flare gun.
Oh, Brian.
Oh, Brian.
With how smart you are, like.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that I think that also speaks to the degree of like how much he didn't really want to do it.
True. Yeah.
Like because he is that smart. Like, really, a flare gun, bro. I mean, that's gonna do some fucking damage. But
I don't know. That
hurt you up.
Yeah, that might be worse. Like
that will be worse. That simply
that's suffering. That's not death.
Yeah.
But no, he's a good kid. Regardless, he doesn't deserve the whole. None of them do. None of them are in a spot where they really deserve what's happening to them. And I think that's kind of the commentary on high school kids. It's kind of like some of y'all get put through the fucking ringer, and you're expected to just go to school and do normal shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Kid who got his buns taped together, and had to.
God.
Yeah, like whenever
tape your buns together.
Whenever Andy like had that whole like how do you even apologize for something like that? Like that whole like explaining of it, like
that's a really strong acting sequence for like all of them.
Damn,
they all do a really good job there with like Molly Ringwald and Claire and John going back and forth, where he's like giving her shit about being a virgin, and Allison is like, no, I fucked all the guys, I fucked my therapist, fucked this guy. And then she confesses that she never fucked anybody, but she's a fucking funny. Compulsive liar. Oh, but no, Emilio Estevez in that scene is really, really good. It's one of probably the better moments of his career in terms of acting, because frankly, I don't think he reaches heights like this ever again. But and he's kind of a piece of shit. So
not as Bullseye. I think. And Daredevil.
Oh shit!
Daredevil. Yeah, 2004. What was that?
Is that him?
Yeah, that's Emilio Estevez.
No,
I swear.
And the one with Ben Affleck, like that. No way, he's in that. I watched that movie to death. Well, only the first scene with the wake me up while he's slicing sandbags. I just rewatched that scene over and over. I don't even think I watched the movie ever. I think I just watched that one scene. But...
Maybe it was someone else. Maybe they just look alike. I always
now
thought
I gotta find out.
Yeah, I have to know now.
Colin Farrell.
Oh, it wasn't him.
Yeah, upcoming or in the Batman movie that was released a month ago. And will continue to play Penguin in future spinoffs. But yeah, Emilio Estevez in this scene really, really crushes it. You gotta win. Like, and he is, to me, in the circle that I grew up around, that's the most real character to me. Like, I know Andrew's, and I certainly know Andrew Dad's. Like, that to me, as far as the people I knew in high school, is as real as it fucking gets in this movie. 'Cause I knew guys who barely wanted to play sports anymore, but they just kept doing it because their dad made them. And it's like, God damn, that sucks.
Yeah,
what
a weird thing. Like, having to tell your parent, like, I don't want to play this sport, and then them being like mad at you.
That's a no.
Like,
no.
huh? Like, I'm not having fun playing baseball and basketball anymore. I don't really want to play anymore. No. Oh, okay. Like,
Okay, cool.
that makes sense.
Got it.
All right. I'll go to practice, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I spend literally every day doing this, and I don't enjoy it. Bye. But yeah, and there are a few, like, these are obviously all very real archetypes. Like, these several people generally follow one of these paths. If that, like, obviously there's many more, but these are five pretty good archetypes. And he has just stood out to me as like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy. You know what I'm saying? I know that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Claire's too, for sure. Like Andrew and Claire, especially
Allison's
like
the only one that's kind of like, you only know a few Allisons.
Oh,
know?
but
but you know an
exist.
Allison.
But you do know
exist.
one at
You
least.
know an Allison, though.
There is at least one. Oh yeah. That like pixie stick and Captain Crunch sandwich, or like whatever that
just
was.
eating all the sugar.
Oh my god! Like that one thing. Like that's happened. You've seen someone do something similar. It wasn't exactly
And the way she shakes the dandruff onto her fucking page so that it's the snow.
Oh god, yeah. I was like, that's gonna make me throw up for some reason.
That's gonna make me throw up. I'm going to throw up.
I don't know why, but it will.
But yeah, you know at least one Allison, but there's definitely a few Claires.
Yeah, and like you probably know a John Bender too. Like that's pretty likely too. Like, and that's what makes this movie so good to me, is because like I'm like, yeah, these are all real people. Like, there's not really anything in this movie that's unbelievable to me besides Mr. Vernon not smelling the dankness of this library.
Yeah, that's like a good word for this movie. Just real. Like it's reality. Like this isn't in another universe. This isn't Indiana Jones, going off and getting some godlike power. It's just real life shit, real life problems that we all have, and in a movie form. Yeah. And like,
well, and it's like a big time reality. It's real as fuck, and it's a reality check for all these characters. That very question: are we still going to be friends after this? It probably makes them contemplate, like, oh shit, are the friends that I consider my friends even going to be my friends? Like, after today, will I view them the same?
Yeah.
Like they had a pretty life-changing day, whether like it, and it might be they go back to school on Monday and it's like they'll fall back into their old ways. But I do like that we end in a spot where it seems like, hey, we can all make it through this,
That's I kind of didn't like at the end how they just like throw Bender and Claire together like that. I'm like, okay, like come on now, like I get it, like I get the statement. Are Bender
real
and
Kylo
Claire
and Rey Skywalker situation there?
Are we supposed to expect them to end up together? Like, oh no, that just won't work out.
No.
Like,
and I think that's part of the point. Like, it's like, like making a movie about high schoolers, and the way that John Hughes did that. Like, when you looked at Ferris Bueller's Day Off, high school, 16 Candles, high school, Breakfast Club, high school. I think he really does a really good job at encapsulating.
He never left high school.
He didn't. The high school experience, and Damn. I think that because of that very fact, where he's like, he wanted to make movies about the idea, oh shit, y'all need to appreciate high school, because this shit get hard.
That's true.
Could you imagine if we added like Project X to John Hughes's?
Yeah,
16.
A crazy thing is like that the couples that make out at the end, they're like doing it right in front of their parents. Like their parents are watching this happen, and like they didn't have a relationship before that day, and then now they're making like like
that's that is the exact thing that made me go, oh, to be mad at her here. Like they're making out against his car. They're leaning against his car. It's not just in front of the parents. It is like on the parents.
It is like on. Did you say on the parents?
Yeah, like they're like right there. They're on top of them. Like
It's on them. Yeah,
it's
true.
right on top of the parents.
Basically,
it's right on top of them. So like I know she's gonna get in that car and her dad's gonna be like, so what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. You like that's what I was thinking. Is like they had like no way they didn't talk about that right when they got in the car. You know, like that was like
Once again, you wonder why these kids ended up in detention. They're just that dumb.
They're just that dumb, man. And let's talk about the makeover they give Allison here at the end of the movie. What an epic fucking failure.
I swear to God. Claire was like, at first she was like, oh, she looks good. And then I was like, I just like didn't say anything. And then a couple seconds later, she's like, maybe just in that scene.
Yeah, it was like the first shot they show her and you're like, oh, it's cute. It's a big turnaround. And then like a couple minutes later, you get a second to like sit on it and like think about it. And you're like, man, this is a real 80s ass thing. Like you gotta be blonde and dress cutesy and do this to be an attractive girl. And it's like, nah, and honestly, she was a more attractive girl before she did that.
Yeah, I guess the only like cute-ish thing was Andrew saying like, yeah, I can see more of your face. Like, and like, oh, you're beautiful. Yeah. Like that was the only cute part, but everything else was just like, I don't know.
How about and if there's like no more indication you need to prove that they're high, how about the crawling and the vent sequence between Claire and John and them dancing on the tables and stuff? You don't do that shit sober, man.
No,
like
who just crawls in the vents? Who does that?
Nah. And the fact that, this man broke a giant hole in the fucking ceiling and they're just going to be like, someone else will deal with that eventually.
Yeah, Andrew broke a whole door. The glass out of the door. That's just like, oh. Right,
they're going to be like, they're going to show up and be like, okay, so we know exactly who was in Saturday detention, right?
Yeah, wow. That was...
Yeah, a couple of possible plot holes.
Yeah, but they don't matter.
Well, no, that's the thing is that like I think it kind of implies that there are certain elements of it that kind of imply that this won't be the last time they see each other, and in fact, the only time they might be able to hang out with each other is detention.
Oh, I definitely got the idea that like they're gonna purposefully get back into detention. Like, like that's how I left it. Is like that they're gonna like see you next Saturday. Like I'll come back. Like because John's there for quite a while. So,
yeah,
like,
Bender's got like fucking 8 months.
Yeah, I got another right there.
With the bowl.
Yeah, just got another. Yeah, like oh my god, like what a dick.
Like, I was like, what does this mean for your own life, dude? Like this means that you're willing to give up like the next who knows how many Saturdays. Like for John Bender, obviously he was bored. He was like not doing shit in his office.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Dude just sucks.
He wasn't having a good time.
Dude's stuck. He has to have someone to bitch at, or else what's he doing?
Right.
That's all he does. That's his whole thing.
Yeah. He's definitely stuck in high school.
Stupid. No and freeload son of a bitch.
Man.
You forgot ugly, lazy, and disrespectful. Shut up, bitch. Go fix me a turkey pot pie. Like that whole like those sequences where John was like, here's an image of an evening at Brian's house.
Hey, Dad.
Hiya, pal. You want to go fishing this weekend? Yeah, Dad. Like, I just absolutely love that shit. Like, those moments are incredibly comedic, and what sucks is that it really is just him being a complete fucking asshole. Like,
you get the shot of Andrew like laughing, but then realizing, oh, I'm not supposed to laugh at this guy. Mean face now,
It's because he's kind of like one of those kids who is pining for attention in a small way, is like trying to compensate for what he's not getting at home, which is people listening to him by acting bombastic in public.
Yeah. Yeah. God, no, Dad. What about you? Fuck you. Just like that. He was really like, he needed to vent, bro. Like, the way he was reciting that shit, they were like, oh, damn. And then he had the gall to be like,
I don't believe you.
I don't believe
I don't
you.
believe a single word. Shink. See the size of this? Just about a cigarette. It's just about the size of a cigar. and then Andrew was like, damn. I'm sorry, man.
God.
Yeah.
Screws fall out all the time. The world's an imperfect place. It's just full of it's just chock full of amazing quotes.
Yeah, that was it. Oh man, how take a screw out of a door just so it's closed. Like, dude tries to prop it open with the biggest thing in the room that no way you could still walk through the doorway. And then he makes it Andrew's fault. Whenever John is like, "What are you doing, idiot?" He's like, "Oh, Andrew, you stupid idiot!
You're a varsity athlete.
Expect more from you."
That was the heaviest door I've ever seen too. Like that.
Yeah, that just said. And they were like, they had to justify its loudness so that you didn't hear John Bender's "fuck you." I just absolutely loved that. Buy yourself another Saturday. Oh, crushed.
I'm crushed.
You just bought one more. Well, I'm free the Saturday after that. Beyond that, I'm gonna have to check my calendar. It's just great. It's just got full. It's just so great. I just love this movie, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking of rating. This is gonna be the first time where we have 3 people rating a movie. I know. And
I know. I'm wondering how big of a curve that gives it. What's the deal here?
I still think it'll be pretty unanimous though here on certain ones.
On certain ones. The way that we do this, Tavarus, you haven't been a part of this yet. We have 3 ratings. We have on a scale of we have it on a scale of how good it fits its genre, and just overall how good of a film it is.
Did you start with your middle finger on purpose?
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I'm being offended right now. What's the occasion?
How much we enjoyed it, 1 through 5, 5 out of 5 stars. How well it fits its genre, and this one we'd go with coming of age, comedy drama sort of feel to it, and then just overall as a film, how critically good is it? And we usually start with enjoyment. So out of 5, and what have we previously given 5s? Just for some context here.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is a 5. Star Wars is a 5. Jaws is a 5. Godfather. Those are our only 5s for enjoyment.
Okay.
And then up there, close to 5, we have a 4.75 given to Godfather Part 2, a 4.5 to The Shining, 4.5 to the 36 Chamber of Shaolin. So we got the enjoyment one is usually pretty high.
High. It's always pretty. So. It's pretty nice. We're watching a bunch of good movies. We're not watching bad movies.
Terminator was a 4.8.
So in terms of enjoyment here, for me, I want to put it at a 5, but I don't want to say I like it as much as I don't think I enjoy it as much as the other 5s we have. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars, Godfather. But straight up, 4.9.
Yeah, I enjoyed this more than the Terminator, which was a 4.8, but I did enjoy it as much as Star Wars or Raiders. So it just kind of falls in the 4.9. I was there too.
Tavarus, how you feeling?
Okay. I mean, I didn't realize we were doing points. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. We're very technical over here.
Well, and because we kind of had to, we didn't start so technical, but then, we only got a scale of 5, so you got to really, if you like it more than this, we're down to the
right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I'd probably give it a I gave it 4.5. I gave it 4.5,
Okay.
I think. It's
All right. Then what if we met more in the middle here? We went with like with 4.75.
Yeah, that puts it up with Godfather Part 2.
As
Puts
much
it
as that.
just a little below Terminator, which actually may make sense. Because this movie, at least at the beginning, is sort of slow, I guess, until you really get like what the movie is.
True.
So I guess the Terminator could just be more of an enjoyable movie. Just, I mean, crazier things are happening, you know.
And it's funny, you know, like this is like our 16th movie, I think, so far, and so whenever we talk about these movies in the ratings part of the podcast, it's funny. We only have 15 other movies to compare it to. So, like, it's always so funny to me hearing something like, well, you know, The Breakfast Club, I just don't enjoy it as much as The Terminator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just absolutely love stuff like that, and I love that we have such a catalog of movies right now.
Yeah, Clockwork Orange compared to The Breakfast Club is just, you know, I loved it. Yeah. But I think 4.75 is fair. You know, just 0.05 below the Terminator.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Now,
in terms of the way it fulfills its genre,
now come on.
This is
the gold
like,
standard.
This is the coming of age movie, is it not?
It's pretty iconic in that role for sure.
I mean, I don't think I'm giving this any less than a 5. Like I've seen this movie one time, and I know it's like this is it. Like I get it. Like this is the coming of age movie. If I had to pull a coming of age story and say like what's the best coming of age movie I've seen, it's definitely The Breakfast Club. Like it was American Graffiti. Now it's The Breakfast Club with no question.
Yeah.
So I mean, American Graffiti we gave a 5. So technically this deserves more than that, but can't really do that. But
an honorary 5.1, but it'll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I definitely think that this is a solid.
Oh yeah,
rounds out.
Yeah, I'm with
everything
that.
you
And
expect there.
As a film itself, here out of 5. Now this one is the only one where it might falter a little bit. You know, it's a really good movie and it's really well written. But there, like we've pointed out, there are some moments in the movie that haven't aged particularly well. There are some shaky behind the scenes ages there, which I think you know, you're taking into account a film. I think the cast and crew and stuff. So, I don't really know where I stand here.
I don't.
What about Tavarus? You want to get it rolling? Out of 5, what you think?
I think like it's as far as what it does as a movie, its goal is really small, and so it accomplishes most of it pretty efficiently. But that may be a hindrance of it as well, is the sense that it happens.
It didn't go big enough.
Isolated universe where there's so many things that interest you about these characters beyond their experience in this particular detention. And while this does, I guess, shed a certain light on them, that shows you insights into the character you wouldn't otherwise get, probably. It could have, I don't know, it lacks vision in a lot of ways. And maybe that was part of the intention.
See, and that's the thing, though, is that, like, it feels like the vision was small.
Right.
Like, it was supposed to be a small, compact story. And in terms of the creator getting their vision on screen, I have no doubt that was done here. You know, like, I
feel like the simplicity is like the beauty of it here.
Like, I agree.
That's the whole point. Yeah, they didn't need to go big for this. You just needed 5 kids, a teacher, and a janitor. You know, like that's all you needed for this story. Mainly just 5 kids,
and a couple set pieces.
Yeah, like,
you know, like it's not.
Yeah, like it was just a story that just a coming of age story like that. And that's, American Graffiti's simple too. It's literally just them having a night out. It's their last night before they all like leave and everything. So it's very simple. Like coming of age stories are usually very simple.
I'm with you.
And I don't know if I see that as like a hindrance of the movie. I don't know. I think it's like,
and we've also been in the past, I don't want to say forgiving, but if we enjoyed a movie, we typically reflect it pretty lovingly in the how good it was in the film.
mm-hmm.
As a film.
I'd say like a 3 is way too low. Like a 3 is like way too low. Like 4, I'd say is the low.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, like 4 is like the lowest. I'd feel. I feel like this is more like 4.25, 4.5 range ish. Maybe like 4.25 is more where I'm sitting. If I'd have to, put a number on it.
Where I'm at. I think that's about where I'm at.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So when we add those all up and we divide it by, get that average there.
4.67, which,
pretty good.
Let's see, it is below The Shining, but above Apocalypse Now. It is below Jaws, but above The Terminator, barely. This is feeling right. Below The Godfather, but above A Clockwork Orange. Yeah, this is feeling okay. A 4.67. I think that
I'm comfortable with that. And for one that I've regarded as one of my favorite movies of all time for a while, the only one that we've done that with so far, I mean, Raiders, that's up there, but Star Wars, those two are really, but The Breakfast Club holds a special place in my heart just because I've loved it for so long.
mm-hmm.
Like Raiders was the other example I pointed to, and I only really got into that 3 years ago, whereas Breakfast Club, I watched it for the first time like 10 years ago. So that one's one of my comfort flicks. It just brings me a lot of joy, I really, really, really like it. And one of the first maybe the first movie I ever got high to. Fun fact.
There you go.
Yeah. So another little sentimental thing there. But yeah, 4.67. That feels right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And thus 1985 is behind us. And we are on to 1986, which, if I remember correctly, will be James Cameron's Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to that greatly, and that will be our last episode in April, followed by what I think I'm leaning further and further towards is Spaceballs.
Mm-hmm. That's currently what we have on the list.
Yeah. You say Spaceballs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I've heard quite a bit about it. I've never seen it yet.
It's an all-time comedy. Probably won't be one that takes very long to discuss, but it's one that I would like to discuss nonetheless.
That's the monkeys in space, right?
Spaceballs is the Star Wars spoof with Rick Moranis,
like the big,
he
like
has the giant helmet.
Oh, that's what this is. Okay, so I still haven't seen this movie, but like I at least know of the giant Darth Vader helmet guy,
Princess Leia character, a Han Solo and a Chewbacca, droids, like they.
And this was done in what year?
1987.
87, of course.
Yeah.
No, 10 years after. It was the 10-year anniversary. Huh.
Yep. They were like, you know what, we got to honor this shit. Spaceballs.
Spoof it.
But yeah, April's looking like it's going to shape up to be quite the nice month after the Terminator last week, and
very wide range of movies.
Yeah.
I guess Aliens and Terminator are kind of somewhat similar. But the Breakfast Club couldn't be any more different.
Yeah, that's out there.
And then Scarface was our first one of April, so Spaceballs is widely different than every other movie on here. So,
well, it'll be a good month. It'll be a good month. But yeah, so I joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, and for the first time on the 52-year journey through film, Tavarus Pennington. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, of course.
Hell yeah. So, if you could, head to patreon.com/CarlBloom, where you'll find well over 21 hours of exclusive content at this point. Head to Twitter and follow @PennyBloomPod, where if we were to change a movie in any given week, I said next week is Aliens, and it will probably remain Aliens. However, if it were to change, you'd find out on Twitter. And then go follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPod. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And we're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it. That's all.